Live from our Seven Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Tasmanians are facing another trip to the polls after a successful no-confidence vote against Premier Jeremy Rockliff. A formal dissolution of Parliament is unlikely before next week, leaving the state in the midst of an ongoing political crisis ahead of a potentially heated election campaign.
The moment that sparked the collapse of the government.
With the vote before us today, under the provisions of Standing Order 167 and with reference to the commitment given when I was elected to the chair, I cast my vote with the ayes. The ayes have it.
The Speaker casting the deciding vote, passing Labor's no-confidence motion against the Premier, who's overcome by the gravity of it all.
I acknowledge and respect the vote of the House today, as I have respected every single vote that has taken place in this House in my 23 years.
Jeremy Rockliff set to follow through on seeking an early election, barely a year after the last one. Now preparing to make the trip to put the request to the Lieutenant Governor.
I'm not going to let the Labor Party choose the leader of the Liberal Party, and I'm going to fight this all the way. Thank you very much.
It's a contest the opposition leader insists Labor is up for too.
Tasmanian Labor could not stand idly by and let this government and this Premier continue to do this to our state. What he was doing with the budget was putting everything on the credit card.
Ruling out doing a deal with the Greens to form government, planning to target a contentious policy.
We are ready to take this Premier on every single day, and we're ready to fight on privatisation.
The extraordinary chain of events coming after a second day of fiery debate on the performance of the Premier and his government.
When it comes to your budget, you can stand up here and tell everyone and put out your media releases because you're not governing anymore, you're just marketing.
Another shame to our state and a failure of this Premier and government is Ashley Youth Detention Centre.
While Liberal ministers and MPs hit back at Labor.
What I saw yesterday when I saw the motion being moved by the Leader of the Opposition was a small man. And then I saw the response from the Premier and I saw a statesman.
You are bullying our democracy in what you are doing today.
Rounding out an extraordinary week in Tasmanian politics. Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
And political reporter Anthony Dodd joins us now. Anthony, it has been quite the day. What are the latest developments?
Kim, Jeremy Rockliff is set to follow through on his pledge to call an early election, and he's expected to visit Government House at any moment now. Lieutenant Governor Christopher Stranahan will be the one to sign off on the request, but there are a few steps that will need to happen first, as Jeremy Rockliff will need to make 2 trips. The first one will be to advise the Lieutenant Governor his advice is to call an election. Jeremy Rockliff has committed to first pass a supply bill so frontline service workers will get paid, as the budget hasn't yet been passed. He'll also need to confirm if Labor leader Dean Winter can't form government. Then Rockliff would make a second trip to find out if the election call will be granted. But we're unlikely to know the outcome of the decision until next week. Kim?
Okay, thanks Anthony for the update. Well, it will be an unprecedented 4th time in 7 years we've headed to the ballot box, and political commentators are warning there could be plenty of casualties.
15 months after the last state election, weeks after the federal one, and just days since the Legislative Council polls, you'd forgive voters for feeling a serious case of fatigue.
No, I don't care if it's right or wrong, just do something.
Now to hear about another election, it's like, oh my God, just shut up.
Premier Jeremy Rockliff has made the call, but this wasn't the only path forward. Lieutenant Governor Christopher Stranahan, filling in for Governor Barbara Baker while she's overseas, could have required Rockliff to step aside, handing leadership to another Liberal MP. He also had the option to ask Labor to form government with the crossbench and Greens support, but opposition leader Dean Winter quickly ruled out working with the Greens. The outcome?
Well, I think it's been a mess that's compounded into something of a political crisis, really.
With Tasmania once again heading back to the polls and with the last election costing taxpayers $5 million, the question now becomes who will voters punish?
I think there's no doubt that if we go to an early election, it'll be the opposition that bears the odium for that. They were the ones who brought on the motion.
He's lit a fuse and unfortunately the bomb is about to go off.
And for those playing along at home,
bring it on, because finally I get to have a say in my new home.
I think it's about time.
strap in. Tasmania is in for a turbulent political ride.
We are ready to take this Premier on every single day, and we're ready to fight on privatisation.
And I'm not going anywhere. Thank you very much.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
And with so much uncertainty tonight, Tasmania's AFL ambitions look to be in tatters. The football community is coming to terms with the reality the dream may be over. A former Premier who helped spearhead the licence has fired his own warning shot as legends of the game brace for heartbreak.
A frank admission from one of our own.
It'll rip the heart out of the state if it doesn't go forward.
Proud Tasmanian and Collingwood veteran Jeremy Howe conceding the emotional turmoil of a devil's dream under threat.
Carrot's been there dangling for decades, and then all of a sudden it's within reaching distance, and if it doesn't get done, I'll fear for what the state might look like.
The fear it could be over, sending shivers through grassroots footy.
The team needs to be in the competition to make it a fully national competition, so yeah, it'd be heartbreaking.
As Premier Peter Gutwin stood up to the AFL, pleading the case for a 19th licence.
I had the opportunity to grab the ball in the centre and kick it down into our forward 50. Jeremy Rockcliffe has taken a sensational mark and has now kicked a fabulous goal.
Fast forward 2 years and the game is at risk of blowing up entirely.
It will be a disaster for the state if we can't go forward with the team and the stadium.
The former leader sending a stern warning to Parliament.
Let's govern for Tasmania and, importantly, deliver this team that we have been working for 3 decades to try to achieve.
Despite the political uncertainty, it doesn't necessarily mean the dream is over. The opposition leader has written to AFL boss Andrew Dillon to confirm his party's support for the Tasmanian Devils and the stadium's development. But whoever is left to pick up the pieces will still have to cough up the funds to build it, and the price tag is rising fast.
Quite frankly, I'm certain that the AFL would be considering their options at the moment.
Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Prosecutors are yet to finish compiling a brief of evidence more than 3 months after charging a former police officer with accessing child abuse material. Dale Jeffrey Cook appeared briefly in the Magistrates Court in Launceston this morning. Mr Cook was stood down in February after being charged in a joint state and federal investigation. He's set to appear again in August. The fires are burning at Hobart's waterfront as dark Mofo festivities get underway, night 1 kicking off with Winter Feast. Organisers pulling out all stops to make it the biggest and best yet after last year's scaled-back program. Our reporter Rebecca Gaytoneris is at the event. Beck, revellers are making the most of opening night.
Well, Kim, there's lots of excitement going on down here. Hundreds are pouring through the gates and inside to enjoy Hobart's biggest feast. Tonight's chilly weather hasn't stopped the crowds flocking to indulge in a feast for the senses. There's more than 70 different food and beverage offerings showcasing some of Tassie's best. And once the tummies are well fed, revellers can enjoy Dark Park with art and light installations and, of course, the much-loved Ooga Ooga. We caught up with the festival director, Chris White, earlier today. He says he's confident the weird, wacky and wonderful elements of Mofo will return to its full glory and will be a major boost to the state.
Based on the numbers we're seeing already, we're expecting an economic benefit similar to 2023, which is about $54 million to the state. Obviously a huge driver for businesses around the state.
Over 50,000 tickets have already been sold for Mofo events, and that number is expected to exceed 100,000 by the end of the festival. Kim.
Pride celebrations in Launceston have been cut short by a brazen act of vandalism just hours after they began. The attack marring the launch of a groundbreaking survey focused on building inclusion.
Not Launceston's proudest moment. While most of us were sleeping, a vandal strikes. Hooded and wearing a mask, they go straight for a flagpole in Brisbane Street Mall, cutting down a pride flag installed just yesterday, before throwing it on the ground like garbage. But the culprit's not finished there. With single-minded purpose, they proceed to attack 11 out of the 14 poles displaying the pride flag, leaving the tattered remains to be found hours later.
That this behaviour is absolutely condemned by the City of Launceston, and I would like to think by the community.
While police are investigating the incident, the attacks spoiled the beginning of Pride Month, tarnishing the launch of a groundbreaking survey of Launceston's LGBTQI+ community.
It's important that Tasmania becomes a fully inclusive and an equitable society.
The Local Government Association and Equality Tasmania also teaming up for better outcomes for our queer community.
There's still a legacy of prejudice and discrimination in parts of the community, and it's important that local government take leadership in addressing that legacy.
Representatives from councils across the state gathering to hear the lived experience of LGBTQI+ Tasmanians.
It's a reminder that we need to work harder as a society to eliminate hate.
To make sure pride wins against prejudice. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
A collaboration between university speech pathologists and a Tasmanian man who suffered a stroke in his 30s is seeing positive results, with freely available artificial intelligence software helping him reconnect with the world.
Technology has literally changed Nathan Johnston's life.
A little bit, by a little bit, by a little bit. Yeah.
A stroke at 38 not only robbed the former commercial fisherman and Telstra IT worker of the use of his right arm and leg, he was also left with aphasia, a disorder affecting his ability to communicate and connect. Fortunately, through the efforts of his mother, the father of 3 joined a program headed by speech pathologists at Sydney's University of Technology and hasn't looked back.
The motivation that he has, despite the difficulties over the years, to persevere, especially with this program, because it's quite challenging.
Previously limited to mostly single-word written responses and emojis, Nathan was introduced to artificial intelligence platform ChatGPT, and his world completely opened up, along with his outlook on life.
And I think because he can send messages in that way, that reinforces his oral language as well and his confidence with people.
Nathan works online with master's students as part of his therapy, joining them on Zoom. It's a relationship that's beneficial for all involved.
It's just, I guess, opened our eyes to the availability that's out there. And seeing Nathan's progression just in the 10 weeks that we worked with him was really inspiring.
And what is exciting to those spearheading the program is that with AI platforms still in their early days, the potential appears limitless.
We're really hoping that somebody in the kind of creative world will actually create something specifically for people with communication disorders that will be easier to navigate, easier to understand.
Matthew Watson, 7 Tasmania News.
It's a spicy chicken which has local food lovers salivating, and it's finally opened its doors in the state's north. Popular grilled chicken outlet Nandos has set up shop in Launceston to an enthusiastic welcome.
The response has been overwhelming, great response, people are happy, we're serving bloody good chicken and it's been great.
The restaurant employs around 50 local staff. Things are already heating up at Dark Mofo, with a Scandinavian-inspired mobile sauna boat being shipped in to take the edge off the winter chill. Dark Dip counters the cold with sweltering steam.
We've got a very cold ice bath on board, which is set to 6 degrees. After you've experienced that 6-degree water, you get to go back into the sauna, which is set at 90 degrees.
It's an exhilarating feeling. Not quite as shocking as the cold tarns on the mountains here. But you definitely feel your body responding to that and your heart rate changing.
The floating sauna will be docked on Hobart's waterfront for 11 days during the festival. Young actors have been given a taste of what it's like to be in the limelight from one of the best in showbiz. British legend Andrewa Ando, Bridgerton's iconic Lady Danbury, showing high school students how to tap into their talent.
From Bridgerton to Rose Bay, Lady Danbury crossing space and time to deliver an acting masterclass.
I've enjoyed seeing wombats and wallabies and things like that I've never seen before. So, you know, everything's for me. I just love the variety of the landscape.
British actor Andrewa Ando teaching high school students the tricks of the trade, hoping to inspire the next generation of actors.
I'm a bit of a vampire about kids. They have the young blood.
Schooling students on Shakespeare and showbiz.
When I'm doing a Shakespeare thing, oh my God, Shakespeare, do we have to kill me now?
It's kind of surreal and you don't think you're like, I'm actually meeting a famous person.
Just getting to meet her has been amazing.
Students in the spotlight testing their pre-show skills.
Amazing. I feel like once you somewhat lose your dignity, I feel like you really let yourself truly shine and be dramatic.
I love drama, but I can be a bit quiet, so I really like that she pushes us and makes us a bit louder.
It's what we do. It's how we navigate the world. We tell stories, even if it's like, how did you get here?
Hoping today's taster is enough to encourage the next generation of stars to take centre stage.
If it's your calling and there's nothing else you'd prefer to do, then go for it and go for it hard.
Rebecca Gaidaneris at 7, Tasmania News.
A bottom of the table matchup is brewing in the NTFA Premier League, with Scottsdale still eyeing off their maiden win in the new era. The Pies face Deloraine on Saturday, who, despite claiming a thumping victory against them in round 1, are under no illusion it will be an easy ride.
Expecting a pretty solid hit out with them. We know that they're a tough solid. They'll come with a vengeance to get that win over us.
For the women, it's a chance to settle the score after their round 1 clash was cut short due to injury.
Looking forward to seeing how the scoreline ends up after a full game against them. Really excited for the contest.
And the Jack Jumpers off-season recruiting drive has been bolstered yet again. This time, Nathan Berriton named assistant coach and assistant general manager of basketball. The Tassie born and bred, he'll join the Jackies after a successful stint at the NBA Global Academy in Canberra.
By 13 points, only a few minutes.
It's certainly helped me grow as a coach, and I feel like I'm in a really nice position to come back home and help the development of the Jack Jumpers players.
He'll officially enter the Ant Nest next month.
Good evening. A cold start over most parts today. Hobart, Launceston and Burnie all 13. Devonport a high of 12, if you can call that high. It did reach as low as -3 overnight at Lyawini, but we did have mostly settled conditions. St Helens 14, Smithton, Friendly Beaches and the Bass Strait Islands all 13. Lowhead, Bushy Park and Strawn 12 today. Lyawini peaked at 7. Scattered low cloud over the state, mainly over the west and south, a touch more over the north coast and Bass Strait. A large band of cloud is streaming across central WA and South Australia. The only other cover is over southwest WA. Now look at all this heading our way tomorrow. We have a low pressure zone with a cold front extending up over South Australia. Very strong winds as well. We do have those large highs dominating the weather to the east and west. So for us, north to northeasterly winds picking right up and blowing at 20 to 30 knots generally, but to 40 knots over western waters. Gale warning there, that's been issued for waters from Low Rocky Point up and around to Flinders Island. A strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters and the Central Plateau Lakes, and also a warning to sheep graziers for the northwest coast. Into tomorrow we go. Shower or two developing for Hobart, 4 overnight, 14 the top, -1 for Huonville, 13 the high later, a shower or two for Campania, 14 the maximum. Launceston a high of 15, a 0 start, frost and then showers increasing. Devonport showers on the way and 14, 15 the high for Georgetown with similar weather. Burnie the same, showers increasing, 4 to 14 the temperature range, 14 also for Strawn, showers over Wynyard, 15 the maximum. 15 for St Helens with showers, a shower or two for Swansea, 15, same sort of stuff for Port Arthur. On Saturday the showers continue with possible thunderstorms over the northwest as the winds turn more westerly. A wet Sunday on the way as well, all of the state in for a drop or two, and on Monday showers again, more widespread over the east. Sunny and 19 in Perth tomorrow, a cool showery day in Adelaide, showers increasing over Melbourne, partly cloudy weather forecast for Sydney and a fairly sunny 23 in Brisbane. And here are the current numbers, and we'll leave it there as a bit more is happening now, Kim.
It is, Murph. Let's head back now to our day's main story. And just a few minutes ago, Premier Jeremy Rockliff visited Government House. He was there for only a few minutes and stopped briefly on his way out to talk about ensuring our state workers will continue to be paid during this crisis.
The number one thing on my mind, without any doubt, and enormous degree of certainty, is to ensure that the government is able to take an appropriation supply bill through both houses of Parliament. That will be on Tuesday next week. It's important that we have those appropriation supply bills so we can fund our essential services.
And that was Premier Jeremy Rockcliffe outside Government House. And that is all your news for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everyone.